Hi, I'm Jay, welcome to the workshop, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of electrical troubleshooting with our light bar. So a couple of months ago, while it was still summer, it's starting to get a bit darker in the evenings now, I noticed that my light bar wasn't actually coming on with a high beam as it normally does, and when I checked it, all I got was a bit of flickering, maybe one of the sections lighting up. So originally I thought it might have been a driver problem in these light bars. So I rang up Wilderness and they got me to do some checks and stuff, and I bench tested it, and it was, so I basically put this directly up to just straight to the battery and it worked fine. So we know that the actual LED light bar is working properly. So now we need to do some checks on the actual vehicle electrics to make sure it's getting the correct voltage and feed to the light bar. Okay, so in this jumble of mess of wires which I've had to pull out to try and find this relay and amongst all the others. This is the relay for the light bar. Because this car's high beam is negatively switched, it needs to be wired up a little bit differently. So the actual ground of the relay is coming from the feed from the headlight. So these two terminals are bridged to give the power. This main one here is going to the battery via a fuse, and this one over here is going to the light bar. So first of all, lights are off. So we're just going to check that this relay is in fact closed. So first of all, we're going to check the supply coming in, so that'll be this terminal here. I'll use the probes the correct way around just to help. And to ground, right there. See if I can get this a bit easier on camera. Right, so the probe to ground. We're getting 12.5 volts to the relay from the battery, so we know the battery is at least giving us enough voltage. And then put our probe onto the supply to the light bar. Sorry, we see obviously the relay is closed. So if I'm going to go and turn on the high beams and see if this relay actually operates. So, relay's on now, headlight high beam is on. So I'm going to put the negative to ground again, and I'm going to just touch on that terminal and get a good ground. So there you go, we've got the same voltage going across the relay. So we know that the relay is operating properly and the supply from the battery is okay. So let's go up to the top and check that the supply is getting to the plug, which means that there'll be no breaks anywhere. So again, got the meter here, and what I'm going to do, I've turned the high beam on, so in theory we should have power if this meter wouldn't stay where it's meant to be. So what I'm going to do is just jam the one probe into there, one probe into there, and there we are, getting 12.5 volts at the plug. So why isn't it working? We've established that the light bar is in fact working properly when given a supply straight from the battery, and we've figured out that we've actually got 12.5 volts at the plug. There's one more thing to check for, and that's a phenomenon called a voltage drop. Now to do that, we need to plug the light bar back in. just turned it off for now, just so we're safe when we're plugging this in. What I've done here is I've actually made two little nicks in the insulation, which I can trim back and put new connectors on after this test. And what I'm going to do to test for voltage drop, I'm no expert on this, so if you need to test for this yourself, go and watch another YouTube video or ask your auto electrician to have a look. But basically voltage drop is caused by resistance, a bad connection or something like that, but it's only detectable under load. So you need to put the system under load, i.e. you need to try and activate the light bar, and then that's when the voltage drop will show up. So I'm going to turn the light bar back on again, or try and turn it back on again, and we're going to test at this little point here to see what we get. So high beams are back on. I'm going to set our multimeter to voltage again, and just where I've exposed the copper wire through the insulation, I'm going to poke my probes. So they're a bit difficult to get in, but I can now get them in. I don't know if you can see that, or if you'll be able to see that. We are actually getting between 7.5 and 8 volts to the light bar. So we're dropping, what would that be? 4.5 volts, which doesn't sound like a lot, but bearing in mind that means we're only getting 8 volts to the light bar, and I believe this light bar actually operates between 9 and 30 volts, so this is obviously not enough to activate the drivers. So what do we do about that? Well, voltage drop normally means there's some corrosion on either a connector or the actual cable itself. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to renew the cable and all the connectors, and hopefully that will solve our problem. So, a lot quicker to solve the problem than I thought. First contact I actually tried was the ground, because grounds are normally the notorious ones that go. So I replaced the ground with a new piece of wire and cleaned the contacts to the battery, and plug that directly into the ground coming from the cable in from the roof, and we'll see if that worked, shall we? There you go, that was the problem the whole time. Either that ground to the battery was not quite good enough, so there's high resistance on the actual ground terminal, or the wire had a resistance in it. Either way, now we know that is exactly what the problem is. So I know this wasn't exactly a comprehensive guide on how to check for voltage drop, etc., but something I need to do, so I thought it'd be worth taking you through it, exactly how I did it. Again, if you need more help with this kind of thing, it is best to talk to someone who actually does it for a living, or at least watch some YouTube videos from people that actually do it for a living. That's all I did to figure out this. And one of the golden rules is check your grounds before you do anything, especially if it's intermittent. It's normally a loose or corroded ground. So until next time, I shall see you later.